talking about things that sound nuts. This is a fucking fascinating story, right? And it just keeps on rumbling on. So as some of you guys know, I've been covering some of the stuff that's been happening with DJ boycotts, especially in dance music. So in dance music, there's a big movement with certain accounts such as Ravens for Palestine that are basically encouraging a lot of people in the dance music scene to boycott platforms like Boiler Room, to boycott certain party series, to boycott certain clubs, certain platforms that have any ties to the Israeli government because of obviously the ongoing genocide over there in Palestine. So the boycott is an effort for people in dance music to have some sort of, influence and maybe helping bring about a ceasefire or an end to the bloody genocide over there in Palestine. And now it's become a little bit more ramped up and a little bit more aggro, a little bit more crazy, because those kind of accounts I've mentioned, the pages like Ravens of Palestine and stuff, they're really now going out of their way to essentially weaponize what they're doing and kind of publicly shame certain parties, certain collectives, certain clubs into disavowing or cancelling gigs of certain DJs who they deem to be bad actors, people they deem to be kind of former IDF soldiers because of their links to Israel, blah, 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 blah. One person recently I spoke about was Roy Perez, who it was uncovered had spent 8 years or so serving in the Israeli Navy back in the day, and his gigs that he was playing, people, especially Ravens for Palestine and other platforms, were going out of their way to contact these parties and tell them about, his Israeli army ties and history, and essentially back them into a corner where they could kind of cancel him and kind of essentially cancel his bookings because of his ties to the Israeli army. It didn't really work, I feel like, for Roy Perez, because it does seem like, although he did serve 8 years in the Navy, which is a little bit too long for me personally, it did seem like since then he's gone out of his way to renounce his citizenship over there in Israel. He's done some parties where he's done fundraisers to raise money for disadvantaged people who've been displaced on both sides in Palestine and Israel and shit. But I guess for platforms like Ravens for Palestine, that's not enough. They want more. They want apologies, and some other stuff. So I forgot the actual conditions. So it seems like everybody's kind of getting it. And another person that's getting it from the same collective, the same Laundrette kind of collective, or co-founder of the party Laundrette that does with Roy Perez, is a DJ called Partok. Partok is also now getting somewhat cancelled. I had a feeling someone else. I had a feeling. I remember knowing shit before that maybe somebody else would get, cancelled, and I thought maybe they'd go for Dr. Rubenstein, who used to be kind of like, very close to Roy Perez in terms of DJing together. I saw them play once here in the UK, and they kind of did a lot of like back-to-back sets all over the place, but I don't think they do some anymore. And if it wasn't going to be Dr. Rubenstein, I had a feeling that maybe they were going to go for Roy Perez's boyfriend. I forgot his name. He's a DJ also. But it seems like they've gone for DJ Partok, who's one of the co-founders of Laundrette, a party series that I'm sure Roy Perez maybe started in Israel, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of his way of kind of giving back and fundraising for people who, especially queer people who've kind of been displaced from the genocide. But the latest is obviously DJ Partok. DJ Partok's getting it. So this is a latest headline courtesy of RA. It says Israeli DJ Partok says a statement, cancels New York gigs after immense pressure from online groups. The Laundrette co-founder pulled out of 2 shows this weekend following posts by Boycott Room, Ravens of Palestine, and Sound Against Siege. So this is a pretty crazy situation that's kind of playing out in real time. So it says Israeli DJ Partok will no longer play in New York this weekend. The Laundrette founder, which is heartbreaking, by the way, I could imagine, right? Because most likely, I'd imagine he's probably in New York right now. I'd imagine he's probably been in New York since the morning, at least, or since Thursday. He's probably there right now, and these gigs are getting cancelled. It's horrendous, right? The Laundrette co-founder broke the news via a statement on Instagram yesterday, October 30th, confirming his decision to cancel 2 performances for Signal NYC and Zero Chill. This decision was made after online groups Boycott Room, Ravens for Palestine, and Sound Against sent an open letter. So this is the open letter that started everything, right? So this is the letter that they sent, and I think they tagged the owner of this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, it didn't tag. Okay, cool. But let's read it anyway. So this is from the Sound Against Siege account of it on Instagram. The caption says, on October 28th, 2025, we sent this message to Siva Granik, regarding the decision to book Partok, a former IDF soldier, not IDF DJ, at his up-and-coming event. 2 earlier communication attempts were made privately by organizers to express range of concerns. So to be fair to them, again, I don't like the public calling outs, but to be fair to them, they did try and reach out to these guys privately. And I guess this guy, Sever Garnick, ignored them. And now they're blowing it up in public. And of course, when you blow it up in public, people are gonna, they're gonna pay attention. And immediately his gig was cancelled. So I think this Sever Garnick guy could have avoided everybody embarrassment and maybe just acquiesced to their demands in private, because now this is all over the place and it makes everybody look terrible, I personally think. But let's continue. It says, this is a direct copy of our third attempt. We have yet to receive any indication that Partok will be removed from Zero Chill lineup. We are publishing the correspondence to escalate the cultural pressure and reiterate our demands. Honestly, these people are insane. Reiterate our demands, which repeatedly dismissed by Sever Garnick. 1. Immediately cancel the booking of DJ Partok, and 2. Make a public statement confirming cancellation of the booking. We encourage you to refrain from attending Zero Chill until these demands are met. Jesus Christ, bro. Like, this is insane. So this is what they sent. To send to Sever Garnick, event promoter. As a queer community members who frequently attend and perform at your events, we are alarmed by the decision to book DJ Partok, a former IDF soldier, for your event on November the 2nd, 2025. Within the last 2 years alone, Partok and his party collective Laundrette have repeatedly violated cultural boycott of Zionist entity, hosting multiple events in Tel Aviv in 2024. So they're trying to say that there's some sort of like, they're trying to make it seem like the cultural boycott is like a law that we have to abide by or something. Like, and if you're not abiding by it, then that means you are cheering for the death of like Palestinians and stuff, which is not true. Of course, you cannot partake in the boycott and still be pro-Palestine, you know what I mean, or still be pro fucking ceasefire. It doesn't have anything to do with that whatsoever. And I love the idea that how you can't put on events in Tel Aviv. If you put an event on in Tel Aviv, you're immediately, classified as a Zionist, which makes no sense as well in my point of view. I think you should be referred to as a Zionist. You should be referred to as one of those an IDF soldier, if you've actually done the things that would equate to being a soldier, or done the things that people would equate to being a Zionist, as opposed to just, oh, I'm from Israel, I happen to have a flag on my fucking jacket, I happen to have put an event in this. Like, come on, bro. Like, what the fuck is this? It continues. It says, Partok frequently used phrases like, quote unquote, free the hostages on social media, known to be a dog whistle which serves to rationalize the ongoing war on Palestinian life. What the fuck does that even mean? How is free the hostages a dog whistle? So if you're Israeli and you say free the hostages, I guess because it's not specific enough. You have to say free the Palestinian hostages. If you say free the hostages, it makes it seem like you're trying to say free the Israeli ones without saying it. I guess is what they mean, right? I think so. It's a reach and a half though. But anyway, it continues, the letter. Like his friends and colleague, Roy Perez, he has repeatedly violated boycotts on institutional nightlife targets, including a recent performance at Boiler Room, pinning a clip of the top of his Instagram feed until this week. I'm sorry, right? But even if I'm guilty, there's no way that I am allowing an anonymous Instagram page to tell me what I can and cannot do. The tone that this page has and the other pages have, like, this is the thing as well, it's really fucking crazy, right? Most sensible people are for the boycott in general, right? Just in terms of putting pressure and doing your bit in whatever field you are. You want to feel like you're doing your bit, whether it means buying a pin, buying a t-shirt, a scarf, sending some money to a GoFundMe, taking part in a march, in a protest. You want to feel like maybe whatever you're doing can maybe stop you seeing these images of men, women and children getting blown to pieces in Gaza, right? You want to feel like you're kind of helping that come to that direction, come to that conclusion where it kind of just stops. But I'm sorry, you don't get to tell me how I should and shouldn't behave. Repeatedly violated like, what the fuck? What are these boycotts? The ones that they fucking created. These boycotts are these boycotts are non-negotiable. You have to take part in them. You have to abide by, and it's not even a boycott where you have any kind of say so. You just have to kind of toe the party line. Everybody's doing it, so you have to do it. You can't ask any questions. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's no movement. There's no fucking wiggle room there. If you do question it, you're kind of categorized as a Zionist. I don't know. I don't like this tone. I don't like this tone at all. And what, like, you can't do boiler rooms because boiler room is what, attached to KKK. It's like, come on, man, allow it, bro, allow it. Honestly, allow it. The fact that they had to come out, the boiler room staff, and say unequivocally that holding company has no influence in who they pick in terms of DJ editorially, and for the most part, I think they've shown it with some of the DJs who they've picked to play recently in recent years or in recent months and stuff. And I don't know, you'd imagine if you have a platform like Boiler Room to play on and you actually were politically minded, or you did want to do some sort of activism, maybe playing on a Boiler Room and spreading that message wide could actually be a good way to kind of, you know, basically get what you want to have to say heard by more people. I don't see why that's a wrong. Like, it's such a bizarre thing to do. Like, I understood the cultural boycott of like Whore more than Boiler Room, because Whore, what they were doing, the founders, that was a really dumb move. They really fucked up anyway. People don't really seem to care, by the way. They're still getting people, you know, appearing on that Whore platform and doing DJ streams. But what Whore did allegedly was that they were telling people to take off certain t-shirts. You can't wear that t-shirt, you can't wear that scarf. Now, it's a bit techie with Whore because their founders are Israeli. So it's hard to really get too hard on them, because if you're Israeli and you're seeing people wear t-shirts that are, you know, maybe taking the piss out of your country, but you're not for the fucking genocide, you just don't like that somebody's wearing a t-shirt that's taking the piss out of your country, and you own the fucking platform, and you tell someone, hey, you can't wear that t-shirt. Although it sounds kind of nuts, I kind of get where they're coming from, you know, but they still did a really bad move by telling people don't wear that scarf, don't wear that t-shirt. That I can understand when people are like, you know what, fuck Whore. I get that. But saying fuck Boiler Room because they are owned by a holding company that may have ties to weapons manufacturing in fucking Israel, that's allowing Israel to obviously do what they're doing to, like, that's a bit of a reach, especially when there's no evidence to show that the government is really, I don't know, like, if it was more obvious that Boiler Room are trying their best to silence Palestinian or pro-Palestinian voices, I'd get it. But for the most part, Boiler Room have done a good job of being apolitical, which I think most platforms should be. I think most of these platforms, most of them, when it comes to dance music, should be apolitical. Yes, the music already is inherently political. I get it. Rave it is, blah, blah, blah. Keep your fucking narrative to yourself. But I think in general, these platforms should be across the board apolitical, and you yourself, if you want to spread your message, whatever activism you have, whatever cause you want to promote and push, you can do so on their platform. But so can the other side, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to be pro-Palestinian on fucking Boiler Room, I think if someone wants to come on and wear a fucking Israeli t-shirt, let them wear it. Like, I don't see the problem with it personally, you know. But for some reason, it seems like only one side is allowed to fucking, you know what I mean? That's what I don't like in that sense of the word. Obviously, you don't want someone coming on with a fucking Benjamin Netanyahu t-shirt and shit. That's a bit too much, a bit too extreme. But I don't like this. I don't like this. Like, this like force, you know. It's almost like you're being forced to. You're being kind of called out. I don't know. It's becoming weird. It's becoming vindictive. I don't know. I don't really know what the end goal of this is. You know, I don't really understand what the end goal of it is, because it's kind of feeling a little bit petty, and it's kind of going way farther than it probably needs to. But I could be wrong. Let's continue with the next page. It says, prior to October 7, 2023, Partok glamorized his settler background via artist bios and media interviews, trumpeting his roots in Tel Aviv queer underground amid a backdrop of constant and unrelenting Palestinian suffering. Where does that even come? I want to see evidence of him glamorizing his settler background. What does that mean? Talking glowingly about the country you're born from, about the country you're born in, about your roots, about maybe your come up. Because I'm assuming, if I'm not mistaken, there's a huge majority, a huge portion of the dance music industry, people behind the scenes are Israeli. For whatever reason, don't ask me why, but it seems to be a thing. The Israeli people are kind of prominent within the dance music industry. So I'd imagine the Tel Aviv scene is pretty popping, most likely, right? They probably got a pretty popping queer scene, pretty popping club scene, DJ scene. So if that's a big part of your journey, why can't you talk about it? It doesn't mean you're glorifying or advocating for the death of Palestinians by talking about your history. by talking about your come up. Like that's a reach. Unless they have evidence to show that he's actually, you know, talking about, you know, celebrating taking people's homes and shit and whatever. But I don't know. These actions sustain the Zionist machinery of cultural pinkwashing, which exploits queer culture to manufacture consent for gender. Like, what are these buzzwords, man? Honestly, this is like a buzzword essay, isn't it? All these buzzwords, like, I would actually love these guys to write. If you have a complaint like HR for at work, and you want to, like, you know, you want to help your case for like racial discrimination or something, you should get these guys to write your letter, because these buzzwords that they're writing in this statement are phenomenal, man. Phenomenal buzzwords here. Big up Automech, big up Automech, big up Automech, big up Automech. Thank you for this $5 super chat, brother. What's good, big fella? Hope you're feeling better. Hit the like button, y'all. Yeah, for sure. Feeling much better. Big up Automech. Appreciate you for the super chat. Big up Automech. Next slide. We are aware of Partok's defenses, that he was an activist as a youth, did not choose where he was born, was forced into conscription, and has used his party collective Launderettes events to raise money for Israelis and Palestinians simultaneously. What's wrong with that, by the way? What is wrong with that white bit of text right there, that paragraph? What is wrong with that? That sounds brilliant, no? That sounds like the thing. That's like what you want to hear from somebody trying to make amends from their maybe, you know, spotty, controversial fucking upbringing. What's wrong with that? It continues. It says, none detract from the central point that he has neither acknowledged nor apologized for his service in a military designed to terrorize Palestinians with impunity. He has never acknowledged nor apologized. So he has to acknowledge that he served in the IDF and then apologize. And so if he does that, is that okay? So if he comes out now and acknowledges that it's in the IDF and he apologizes, can he DJ tomorrow or not? His fundraising efforts, meanwhile, have perpetuated the lie of a symmetry between oppressor and oppressed, violating a core tenet of the Palestinian national consensus of resistance, our bit, and only giving lip service to Palestinians in context of raising money for Israelis. Huh? His fundraising efforts have perpetuated a lie. What's a lie about his fundraising efforts? You could maybe just call it out simply and say, maybe the fundraising, the money didn't go to the right people. Maybe the charities that he was promoting had this type of spotty history. Or maybe you want to just have access to the actual raw numbers, the black and white numbers of what money, what portion of the proceeds went to where. But to say that, to just throw this assumption out there, violating the court. What violates the court? Like what? It continues. The screen of fundraising obscures the fact that philanthropy towards Palestinians has been used as a weapon of occupation. To be clear, our goal is not to cancel individuals. Really? Are you sure about that? To be clear, our goal is not to cancel. Are you sure about that? Are you sure, guys? Are you sure? But to pressure artists and collectors to properly accountable for their past and present actions, especially those like Partok and Launderette, who have attempted to rhetorically distance themselves from Zionism while still supporting its foundation. How do you know this? What is the support of? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. They don't live there. They're putting parties fundraising. They say free Palestine. They want the hostages to be free. Like, what more do you want? You want them to get on their hands and knees. However, rather than transparently addresses his own roles in violence against Palestinians, he has hidden them from record wherever possible. Wouldn't you? So you say he's being proud and unrelenting in his Zionism, but then you're also saying on the same token he's so what is it? Is he hiding it or is he showing it off too much? What the fuck is going on? For these reasons, programming Partok in this clear violation of standards of cultural boycott of the Zionist entity. Is that a law? Programming Partok is that a law? You have to not violate the standards of cultural boycott. Like, what the fuck does that even mean, bro? It means zero chill as a party and is in fact an act of shamelessly insensitivity towards the attendees who reject partying under these auspices. You and the staff at Zero Chill by proxy have yet to respond to any meaningful way of ongoing community demands to rescind Partok from the lineup on 11/12/25, categorizing your commitment to the 75-year Palestinian liberation struggle as a mere fad, or, in your words, the flavor of the year in politics. The reputational and material impact of choosing to maintain Partok's booking on the lineup far outweighs the mild embarrassment of rescinding it. This is not just about one DJ, but the standards we continue to set for our culture. We invite you to dignify Palestinian life and to set example. You have to dignify Palestinian life by fucking cancelling one DJ's booking. Like, what? Immediately cancel booking and make a public statement confirming the cancellation. So as you guys know, obviously they did cancel his booking, and Partok made a statement. Partok actually put out a statement regarding his booking getting cancelled vis-a-vis the pressure from, you know, those groups on social media, which is pretty interesting. Let's hear his statement. DJ Partok's statement addressing some of the controversy. Information recently circulated about me online. Much is untrue. I like to speak publicly to share my stance, beliefs, and some context about my past. Honestly, I hate explaining myself anyway. I would hate to be in a position where I have to publicly explain myself like this under duress from an anonymous Instagram account. Are you crazy? You can suck my dick, like legit. Especially if I've not done nothing wrong. Especially if I've done nothing wrong, you can suck my dick from the back. On God, about stand on here and start explaining myself like, what? Get out of here. First and foremost, I oppose Israeli occupation and the ongoing genocide in Gaza. I'm appalled by the recent violations of ceasefire and the continuing slaughter of Palestinians. I fully support the cultural boycott of Israel and reject Zionism in all its forms. If you know me, none of this will come as a surprise. Okay, fair. So far, so good. I left Israel 8 years ago. I no longer perform work, hold residency, or pay taxes there. Like all Israeli citizens, I was required to serve in the military at 18, 27 years ago. I served in a non-combat administrative job, a chapter of my life I highly regret. This service was one of the many things that led me to initially question, then ultimately reject the settler colonial apartheid system into which I was born. Yo, what is wrong with that, bruh? What is wrong? What is wrong with that? Like, honestly, what is wrong with that? Imagine not living in a country for 27 years and then being guilty of the crimes of the country of your birth just because you happen to be from there, but you haven't lived there in 27 years. Like, are you for real? And not all roles in the IDF are equal. If you served an administrative role in the IDF, that's completely different to you fucking holding a fucking Uzi in the middle of a fucking street. I'm sorry, it's completely different. It's completely different. There's always context to these things, so it's just interesting to me. Like, so what is the point of all these, like, of this singling out of certain people? What's the point? Because there are people out there that probably should be singled out and called out for maybe their service, for their time that they've spent in the Israeli Defense Force, maybe because they were in a combative role, they had an actual fucking weapon in their hand, aka allegedly that former owner of the fucking E1 and shit. They spent some time actually serving their country in the war or whatever, seen some combat, may have killed some people. That you can maybe question. But somebody that had to, like, you know, mandatory military service at 18, you have to do it. You're not really too fully aware of maybe, you know, Israeli crimes and propaganda and shit. And then maybe over the course of the years, you traveling, seeing different people, gaining new information, your eyes become more open as to what your country, you know, maybe can be about and some of the wrong things that they do. And you reject it. And you move towards kind of, you know, maybe fixing some of the things that you've done in the past. Maybe trying to turn a new leaf. Maybe trying to do right. And it's still not enough. Throughout my entire adult life in Israel, before and during and after military service, I've been actively involved in the anti-occupation resistance movement. Amongst these actions were the demonstrations against the separation barrier and land confiscation in the village of Bilin in the mid-2000s, as well as the efforts to protect Palestinian farmers from settler violence during olive harvest. I'm not sharing this for recognition, yeah, you kind of are, but to make it clear that opposition is nothing new. It's part of a long personal and political journey. So all of this, again, doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter because you didn't publicly say this, you didn't grovel, you didn't chastise yourself, you didn't cry on Instagram Live. This is a nonsense, man. Life in an apartheid state is disorientating. You may recognize from a young age the grave injustices faced by Palestinian people and try to resist them, in any way you can. Yet it's an ongoing process to realize how deeply you are entangled in the very system you oppose. how your everyday life contributes to the normalization of the ongoing oppression. Even after years away, I'm still learning and committed to do better. Same as we are. Did all of us aware of Israel's quote unquote crimes over the years? Maybe some of us, myself included, have already become more hip to it and more knowledgeable and more aware of it due to the unfortunate genocide going on there right now in Palestine. So imagine if people like myself on the outside are only finding out now. Imagine what it must be like when you're from that country. You're being indoctrinated. You're being fucking, told certain things and stuff. It's going to take time for you to fucking wake up and realize some of the issues going on in the country and question certain things. So the fact that he was doing the work in the first place should be enough. That should be, that should count for something, innit? But in this world we live in now, unless you are a perfect activist, it doesn't count for anything. Any slight deviation from the activist fucking, yellow brick road, you're going to get chastised. You're going to get cast away. Crazy. Or you're going to get your livelihood taken away from you. It continues. To address some of the other topics and misinformation that have been circulating. 1. Laundrette did not host multiple events in Israel during the genocide. That's a crazy lie to put out there about them, isn't it? Throwing genocide raves, Forget the plague raves that a lot of DJs attended. Nah, they were throwing genocide raves. We organized a single fundraiser in 2024. The intention behind this event, again, see, everyone's lying, innit? So it's like, okay, we didn't host multiple, we did one. One is too many still, isn't it, no? You see, now I'm starting to understand. It's like, we didn't host many, we only did one genocide rave. It's like, come on. Anyway, let's just continue reading. The intention behind this event was to support, consolidate, and amplify resistance within the country. We saw the goal of boycott as creating a pressure to enhance resistance from within. And as a former Israelis living abroad, we felt we had a unique position to help spark that momentum. In hindsight, we now regret holding this event as it had a greater negative impact on the global community by breaking the boycott than it did in supporting resistance locally. At the time, we thought it was doing the right thing. For this error in judgment, we are all sorry. Like, what made you, that's a bit of a weird move anyway. What would make them think that would be a good idea? Surely the idea would be to hold the laundrette event in a neutral place outside of Tel Aviv, outside of Israel, and then during the genocide, and then bring more attention to the genocide and more attention to helping the Palestinians and bringing about change and maybe being an effect, being a part of the necessary pressure that may come about in terms of the fucking ceasefire happening for real. I don't know, but that seems like a weird choice to make in it. So this is the thing. Everybody in this is like a bit dodgy, innit? The platforms that are calling out the DJs that are dodgy. Some of these Israeli DJs that are saying that they're not really Zionists, and they're all a bit. Everyone's kind of a little bit duplicitous, Everyone's kind of a little bit shifty, a little bit shady. Everyone involved isn't clean. Everyone's a little bit dodge. I'm not gonna. Everyone's a little bit dodge. I'm not gonna lie. Another one. My Boiler Room set was recorded on November 8th, 2024 and shared on my socials January 9th, 2025 before Super Truck purchased Boiler Room in January 2015. Okay, so basically he's trying to say his Boiler Room set was recorded before everybody knew that Boiler Room was no good. Fair. Regarding organizations to which Laundrette donates funds, in the past, we supported both Israeli-based and pro-Palestinian organizations and Palestinian-led NGOs. Since the escalation of the genocide and after learning of the BDS position, some of these groups, all our contributors have been directed exclusively to relief efforts in Gaza. Again, dodgy, because didn't they say they were purposely trying to donate money to charities that are going to help displaced queer folk on both sides? And now it's like pro-Palestinian, I don't know. So allegedly there's Israeli-based charities that are pro-Palestinian or organized. I don't know. Again, everybody involved is very shifty, very shady, very dodgy, I think. With all of that said, I've decided to pull out of my upcoming shows in Zero Chill and Signal this weekend. As much as it saddens me, I feel like it's the right thing to do. And given the immense pressure being placed on the promoters and the fellow artists, I will devote the time. So do you want to pull out, or are you doing it because of the pressure? Because that sounds a bit, talking two sides of your mouth there. I'll devote the time to reflect on what I can learn from this. I'm sorry to anyone who's looking forward to hearing me play. So this leads me to believe that laundrette party that's going to be happening in fucking Corsica Studios, that might not happen, innit? There might be them that might also get cancelled last minute. That party that's supposed to be happening in fucking Corsica Studios, because this pressure's kind of been unrelenting. So that's Partok announcing that, you know, he's not DJing in New York anymore. So he's probably really sad out there in New York. So this is the party they're meant to be doing, right? In Corsica Studios. So there's probably a scenario where this doesn't happen. This might not happen. I'm not gonna lie, but let's see how it rolls. And then the recent update has been courtesy of the guy that owns, I guess, that party, right? What was it called? Zero Chill. The founder of Zero Chill put out a statement, and he said the following: after many conversations during the past 2 weeks, Partok decided to no longer participate in Zero Chill lineup. I understand that many people in the community are upset at my decision to book Partok. In that light, I want to make clear where I stand personally. I am anti-Zionist. I'm fully opposed to the occupation of apartheid. I support BDS. I, along with the entire staff at Zero Chill, am appalled by the genocide every day, and I'm committed to changing the world so that it's no longer possible. Demonstrating solidarity with the Palestinian movement is an essential part of that. I apologize for the booking. Booking Partok does not reflect with it. Yo, Partok is done, bro. Look how they're talking about Partok on this page. They're talking about him like he's the son of Benjamin Netanyahu, bro. I apologize for the booking. Booking Partok does not reflect where the queer New York underground scene currently stands, who the scene is for, and what it's about. Fucking hell, bro. They are throwing him under the fucking lorry, innit? Bruh. Jesus Christ. You could just let him make the statement. Why do you have to make the statement for? This is so out of order, bro. Like, fucking hell. During the nightmare we're living through, I understand how intensely people care about changing our political reality, both at home and in Palestine. DJs and promoters set the tone of the space we make together. We can and should have hold these spaces to high standard. I live and breathe those standards in making my own parties. Many of you recognize that I care deeply about your experience and events. Brother, you can't... This guy is slimy as well, man. This motherfucker's slimy, because that page that's forcing everybody to cancel everybody, they said they privately emailed this person. They privately got in contact and told them twice to cancel Partok's booking. This person didn't listen. This person didn't mind. Was okay with Partok playing. Then as soon as it was made public and they got publicly shamed, suddenly, oh, Partok's never my friend. Who's Partok? I don't know that girl. I don't know that man. Like, fuck off, man. Second point. So many overlapping communities, people who come to Zero Chill were alienated and hurt by this booking. I understand why. When I booked Partok to play in January, I had no thought about everything that publicly signals to book someone with Partok's history of IDF service. His oh, I feel so sorry for Partok, honestly. These guys, I feel so, especially the ones who weren't like actively, like, if you're like involved in the army and you kill people and shit, then you have to take your lickings, in it. The ones who had to just do like mandatory, like fucking, you know, service in the army when they turned 18 for a couple of years, and then they left Israel and never came back again, and now they're being fucking, you know, essentially held up as like, you know, agents of war and, you know, genocide, like encouragers and combatants and stuff. It's fucking crazy. I feel so bad for those people, especially the ones who have gone out their way to kind of hide their heritage. They don't want, you know, they lie about where they're from. Like, they're still being called out for it. It's fucking brutal. When I booked Partok to play in January, I had not thought about everything that publicly signals to book someone from Partok's history of IDF service. His role as a promoter for parties that he's played in Tel Aviv and toured to other places. Dr. Rubenstein, who also lives in Israel as a child, was not born there and did not serve in the IDF yet. She's been very lucky, by the way. And big up kind of Dr. Rubenstein, because Jesus Christ, man, I don't know, put your arm around your friends. Hopefully she's texted them, because she's been lucky. Because she was a part of that little crew, but she's kind of, in recent years, I don't really see her around Roy Perez too much, maybe because they're both very popular. But she seemed to have avoided. She seemed to have avoided the whole cancel all Israeli DJ thing. I'm not sure how she's avoided it, but she's kind of avoided it. Maybe it helps her. I don't think she's actually born there, innit? I think she lived there for a bit when she was young. I don't know. But anyway. Underground queer nightlife set standards for the progressive queer culture in the US and the rest of the world. I understand that for DJs who come from countries actively. By the way, why did he even mention her name anyway? Again, this guy's a bit dodge himself. Why did he mention her name? Dr. Rubin said he also lived in Israel as a child. This guy's a bit dodge. Anyway, underground queer nightlife set standards for progressive queer culture in the US and the rest of the world. I understand that for DJs who come from countries actively committing a genocide or other transgressions against our collective humanity, the onus falls on them to make their political stances abundantly clear. This sounds like a chat GPT thing. So that information that I have and the information that the party guys have aligned, I appreciate all the people who have taken time to help me understand. They've been attacking him in the DMs. How the booking can be interpreted, many all caps, I'm assuming, fucking DMs. And how for some people in our community, Israeli nationality alone will speak for the person if they do not represent their stance clearly and publicly about the shit. Man, you can fuck off. If I was from Israel and somebody tried to tell me I have to publicly state my stance upon something, if not, like, you get, like, go suck my dick. Like, honestly, who are you to tell anybody to do anything? Like, honestly, like, what? You have to publicly state where you stand. Like, of course you know where most people stand, where the general public would stand, where humanity stands. Like, what the fuck is this? Make it known. It's like compulsory black square on your profile, compulsory hashtag BLM in your fucking bio. Like, fuck off, bro. Fuck off. Oh, horrible the way these people act sometimes. Zero Chill is a party that, because of the people who come here, because you bring your creativity and your humor to the world, that my team and I pour our love into it. I care deeply about the people being able to experience this possibility and connection at this party. I also understand that the desire that people have to party to be in a step with their political principles. We will still sometimes disagree about how to enact those principles in nightlife. The spaces I have created in nightlife have benefited from listening to all points of view and taking some seriously, and that's something I'll continue to do. Okay, he's just glazing himself in the middle of the statement. No problem. Promoter things. Making these spaces is hard, but it's a lot easier than changing anything about the hell we're going through. While nightlife remains, it matters deeply to all of us. There's a lot of powerful people, organizations out there, far outside of the world, who wield the material control over their reality. That is to say, at the end of the day, this is a party we all make together, and there is a world outside of it. We can and must channel this critical and political spirit as well. Yeah, I guess, whatever, man. You've destroyed Partok here, mate. Partok got absolutely eviscerated for nothing. You're the one that fucking booked him. You could have cancelled this privately and spared him all this public embarrassment. You didn't. You then only cancelled the booking because of all the public fucking backlash off the back of them making it public and shit. And now here we are. Absolute nonsense situation. Again, I think everybody in this involved is shit. The fucking platforms, Ravens for Palestine, this siege platform, all full of fucking people with, I don't know, questionable motives, questionable intentions. I don't like it. I don't like the Ravens for Palestine. I don't like this the sound against siege, this forced boycott that's going on now, where it's not even compulsory. It's not even optional. It's compulsory. You have to fucking take part, and you have to take part in it a certain way. This demonization of everybody that's Israeli, regardless of what you have and haven't done in the IDF, just because you happen to be Israeli, it's fucking bizarre as well. Especially coming from a place like nightlife, where you're meant to be all inclusive and you're not meant to be discriminatory. You're meant to open your hands up to everybody and shit. This otherizing and demonizing of Palestinian people, or Israeli people in general, is a bit weird to me. It's a bit weird how everyone's just okay with it. Unless you've actually done something, you know, or said something that would deem you to be a Zionist or whatever. I'm not going just to think you are just because you happen to fucking be repping the flag. Like, allow it. That's a bit weird. It's a bit strange. I'm not liking it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not liking it in the slightest. And but I'm also not liking the slimy nature that some people are kind of answering these questions, clearing up certain things. You know, everyone's kind of all over the place. I'm not really sure what's going on. But I don't like what I'm seeing so far, because I don't think it helps anybody. I'm not going to lie. I don't really think it helps anybody. It just creates more division. It just creates more issues. And it's kind of turning into like a vilifying council culture type of thing, and less of a way to try to maybe get to the point where there is a ceasefire, there is an end to the violence over there in Palestine, and come to a place of peace. I don't really know, really, but I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing so far. It feels a bit yucky. Not gonna lie, it feels a bit fucking yucky. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing.